Sharnamkumarji me Swamini Vrishabhanuja Kritarthoham Kritarthoham na sanshaya Krishnatadiya padapankaj panjarante adyaiva me vishadmanasaraja hansah Pranah prayana same kapavad pitti kantavarodhana vidho smaranam kutaste. With the grace of Shri Govardhan Prabhu, Shri Srinathji, Shri Mahaprabhuji and Shri Yamanaji, once again we all have gathered to have this session on various philosophies and various thoughts and various topics which relate and correlate to our life, and especially with the prisma, with the vision of Srimad Vallabhacharya Mahaprabhuji. How can we make our life more beautiful, more inspiring, more connected with Prabhu? And in that process, or in that journey of life, how can we connect to ourselves in a proper way, firstly, and then with others? Sometimes we focus on connecting with others so much that we forget to connect with ourselves. And Shri Mahaprabhuji teaches us the way to connect with ourselves. As we already had this session planned before a few weeks, but because of my traveling, I wasn't able to connect and give that time for the session. With Prabhu Kripa, when we are here today, we did 3 sessions on 3 pillars of Pushti: Shri Mahaprabhuji, Shri Yamanaji and Shri Srinathji. Now we will be doing 3 sessions on Vivek, Dhairya and Ashray. So first session today is about Vivek. Vivek can be understood in many different ways, or can be practiced in many different ways. It can be a guide for your thoughts. It can be a guide for your actions. And with Vivek, when you do your actions, how is that done? When with Vivek, you think something, in which way should you think? So let us start with the session. I would like to share the presentation. And Vivek literally means the understanding of the right and wrong. It is a person's ability to decide between Nitya and Anitya, or true or untrue. We had discussed about Nitya and Anitya in the previous session. Nitya is something which is infinite, or which stays forever. And Anitya is that it has been created, and after some time it gets destroyed and get united with the 5 elements again. So Nitya and Anitya, for example, this body is Anitya, but the soul is Nitya. The same way, Vivek gives us that understanding where we can have that bifurcation, where we can have that division between right and wrong, between true and untrue, between Nitya and Anitya, between good and bad. So basically, Vivek gives us that ability to think or to choose the right option for us, to make decision with self-awareness and thoughtfulness is Vivek. For an example, we can take the Varta Prasangs, where there is an old lady, very thirsty, sitting in the middle of forest, and Shri Mahaprabhuji is passing through. He's going through his Prithvi Parikrama, and when he looks at the old lady, he offers his Jhariji, or the water that he has. One of the sevaks, he asked Shri Mahaprabhuji that why are you giving your water to her? We have to travel. We have a long journey and we will also need the water. If you give that water to her, then you will have to have a new utensil for yourself. Shri Mahaprabhuji gives us the best example of Vivek, where he says that झारी तो नहीं आवेगी परंतु प्राण नए नहीं आएंगे, which means that if she dies of thirst, her life won't come back, but the utensil can be brought. So that is called Vivek. You make the right decision. You give the right priority to the right choice. It is also known as Nirakshir. Hansashvetah bakashvetah ko bheda bakahansayoho Nirakshir viveketu hanso hansa bako baka. Which means, like the swan separates milk and water from its mixture, one must know how to separate good and bad. Just for an example, if you are watching television, or if you are watching some Netflix series or some videos on YouTube, you're watching a movie, and in that movie a certain kind of scene comes or certain kind of dialogues come, and you're sitting with your family, with your elders, or maybe with your younger siblings. Small kids are there in the house. There has to be this Vivek, or understanding, that what should be seen in front of whom. When a movie scene is coming, what kind of scene should be seen in front of parents, in front of your elders, in front of kids? If there is a violence fight scene going on in the movie, it is better if you don't look at it in front of children. That is why that bifurcation has been given, that these films are for this generation, these films or movies are for this generation, this age group. Why is that given? Because that awareness is there. We need to bring that awareness. Our neighbor doesn't have the right to tell us what we should eat or what we should not eat, but it is our thoughtfulness and our self-awareness for ourselves, that what is right for me, what should I eat, and which will benefit me. So that is Vivek. Among all these meanings, Shri Mahaprabhuji has picked up thought as the relevant connection or connotation with the meaning of Vivek. All thoughts cannot become Vivek, but the noble thoughts are Vivek. The process of becoming one with God while living with the principles preached by Shri Mahaprabhuji itself is called Vivek. As a sevak or as a devotee of Shri Mahaprabhuji, following his guidelines to have Shri Krishna in our life, to attain him, following his guidance itself is Vivek. So Shri Mahaprabhuji's guidance for his devotees, for his Vaishnavas itself, can be understood as Vivek. Shri Mahaprabhuji explains in the Granth Vivek Dhairya Ashray that Vivekastu Haris Sarvam Nije Chhatah Karishyati. Vivekastu Haris Sarvam. Once you have committed, once you have surrendered yourself and your existence, well, the Brahma Sambandh to Shri Hari, Shri Krishna, Nije Chhatah Karishyati. As a devotee, it is your dharma or your duty to understand that Shri Hari, Shri Krishna, Prabhu is capable, he is strong enough to make decisions for us, do the right things for us. So Vivekastu Haris Sarvam Nijechatah Karishyati. What Prabhu does for us will be the best for us. Because we are in a relationship here where Shri Prabhu knows what is good for me, what is bad for me, what I need at what point of time in my life. And he will provide me with that. Having that firm confidence and surrender. We don't ask for something to Shri Thakurji when we do seva. We don't have that barter system here that I will offer you Mangal Bhog and you give me this much marks in my exams, or I will offer Raj Bhog to Shri Thakurji and please Thakurji give me a good job. We don't have that kind of relation with Thakurji. We have a relation where I have my complete love and surrender to Shri Thakurji, Shri Krishna. With humility, with love, with compassion, I have surrendered to Shri Krishna. And I know that he knows what is good for me and what is right for me. So Vivekastu Haris Sarvam. Nijechatah Karishyati. Nijechatah means his self-wish, the wish of Shri Krishna for us is Nijecha. And accepting it in form of Kripa and Ichha. Kripa means his grace and Ichha means his wish. If something good happens, if something happens according to our plans, according to our thought, it is approved by him and he has granted us. It is only because of merely his Kripa and nothing else. So we say that if anything good happens or if any good actions are done by us, even that is dedicated to him. Why? Because it has been done with Prabhu Kripa, Buddhi Preraga Krishnasya. You are the one who has given me the inspiration to do this action, and that is why I am able to perform it. So it is because of Prabhu Kripa. And when something goes upside down, or we haven't planned for it, or we were thinking of some result and we have received complete opposite of it, it is Prabhu Ichha or his wish. He might have a better plan for us. So having that kind of surrender to Shri Krishna, that he knows what is right for me, that is Vivekastu Haris Sarvam Nijechatah Karishyati. That is the Vivek a devotee or a Vaishnav should have for Shri Thakurji. Shri Hari is omnipresent and omniscient. There are two kinds of Vivek inherent. It is only by the wish of Shri Hari that everything happens. Every bit of life, Vivek is worth protecting. Vigatam vam sukham yasmat vivam tasmin vivekam sukham yena saha vivekah. The happiness which is not just attained by experience but is attained by understanding and intelligent decision making is Vivek. So with thoughtfulness, with awareness that who am I? After Brahm Samand, what is my duty? As a Vaishnav, what kind of thoughts should I have? What kind of actions should I do? All of that is Vivek. So once you have that understanding, self-connect with your thoughts, with your actions, because what happens is we perform actions, we say things, but sometimes there are no thoughts given behind it. So when you think, we have had sessions previously where we have talked about in very detail about thoughtfulness, about self-awareness, about self-satisfaction, self-acceptance. We have talked about all those things. Having that understanding is Vivek. So who you are, who is your Guru, who is your Thakurji, and as a Vaishnav, what are your duties? Shri Mahaprabhuji has given us prescriptions and very clear guidelines with his personal experience that if you do this, this will boost your bhakti or boost your journey in the bhakti. And if you do this, it might create hurdles for you, pratibandh. So he has given us this beautiful understanding, and understanding those guidelines is Vivek. Let's understand ahankar, antakaran. There are 4 steps of antakaran. So antakaran, to understand Vivek, is very important to understand the concept of antakaran. Shri Vallabhacharya has also written a granth called Antakarana Prabodh, or the awakening of your inner consciousness. Karan means the instrument or the sadhan. Antah means inner. So the inner instruments. Antakaran is made of 4 elements: man, chit, buddhi and ahankar. Man is the reason for both bondage and liberation. It is considered as the instrument to know the internal truth. One of its functions is to raise wishes, which could be good or bad. Mana eva manushyanam karanam bandha mokshayoho. Bhagavan in Bhagavad Gita tells Arjun that mana eva manushyanam, our man is the reason of bondage and liberation, of freedom and of connect. So man eva manushyanam, good or bad decisions or wishes are being made through our man. Then second comes the chit. The function of chit is to desire, to wish generated by the man. Desire the wish generated by the man, either good or bad. Many times there is a conflict going on in chit between the desire, whether the desire is good or bad. So man wishes and chit desires to have it. Then the third comes buddhi. The decision to pursue good desire or bad desire is being made by the buddhi or the intellect. Srimad Bhagavat tells that the buddhi contains impressions of several previous births. Knowledge is the subject matter of buddhi. So in buddhi, all the information is stored. Buddhi can be also translated into brain in a way. So where all the storage is happening of your thoughts, of your knowledge, of the information that you receive and the information that you have. Then the fourth comes ahankar. Ahankar does not mean ego here. Ahankar implements the good or bad decision taken by buddhi. Ahankar gets the work done through our organs. Our organs are slaves to this ahankar. So ahankar makes our body function in the direction where buddhi has thought, in the direction where our desire leads us, and in the direction where we have our wishes placed. So ahankar is the final stage. Shri Mahaprabhuji also teaches us that ahankar should be in what form? Complete egolessness and having ahankar or the ego about what? So we should have swabhiman rather than abhiman. That we are the das of Sri Thakurji. We are a Hindu. We are a Vaishnav. we have whatever good we have in our life, or whatever good we have done in our life, rather than having ego about it, that only I can do this, or only it could be done by me. I have so much. A person has 5 kinds of egos: ego of knowledge, ego of beauty, ego of position, ego of wealth, and ego of contacts, of their relations with people. So rather than doing this ahankar, having that Vivek, that my organs are just the slaves of this ego. In which direction should I guide this ego so that it leads me to the understanding and to the experience of the divine, Prabhu Shri Krishna? Thus, all our works involve our ahankar fully. In fact, the seva that we do, it is also the complete surrender of our ahankar, of our ego. Because in seva, we involve all our indriyas, our senses, our organs. And with that action or with that activity, the complete usage of our ahankar has been done selflessly. And when you involve your selfless service, you are involving your ahankar into it. And that ahankar is called seva, when it is done selflessly. When you surrender your organs, your senses into service for not gaining something, but to give something, that is called seva. And full involvement of your ahankar is done in seva. That is why Shri Mahaprabhuji, first thing after taking Brahm Saman, he prescribes is that Vaishnav should do Bhagavad Seva. In fact, it is the king of the body. Ahankar is the king of the body. The understanding of ahankar is necessary for Vivek, because it helps us to know that Vivek is acquired through ahankar or knowledge. So, the actions taken by these organs or these senses are the reason of us having ego. And if these senses and these organs are being surrendered into service, selfless seva, that ahankar creates egolessness within us. And that understanding is only possible through Vivek. So Vivek gives us right bifurcation between ego and the ego which is good for us. So bringing that bifurcation or bringing that difference is the work of Vivek. Our Vivek as a human and as a Vaishnava is to never harm anyone else. As a Vaishnava, this should be our duty. What Vivek should we have? So as a human, firstly we are humans, then we are citizens of a country. After that, we are Hindus. After that, we are Vaishnavas. So, because of all of that, because we are humans, firstly, and because we are Vaishnavas, it is our moral duty that to never harm anyone else. Not being stubborn for anything, not dwelling in pride, is also Vivek. We must be mindful and evaluate each work, thought, and desire for good and bad. We should evaluate ourselves, that the decisions that I have made, or the decisions I am going to make in my life, or the choices I am going to make or about to make, am I making them rightly? That thought itself is Vivek. Deenta is very important part of Vivek. Deenta always reminds us that Our relationship with Shri Hari is of Swami and Sevak, master and servant. Deenta means kindness, and it is a very important part of Vivek. What Vivek gifts us is Deenta, is kindness. When you think with Vivek, when you act with Vivek, when you speak with Vivek, you practice Deenta or kindness in your life. So in the end, the seva of Shri Thakurji, serving Shri Prabhu with Deenta, the Tatparta, is the ultimate Vivek of a Vaishnav. So doing Shri Krishna Seva with Deenta and Tatparta, with kindness and with Tatparta, with Tatparta means that always being ready for the selfless service, always being ready for doing the service of Shri Thakurji, of Vaishnavas, of anyone who needs help, being ready for it always. That is Tatparta. And Deenta is kindness. So serving Shri Prabhu with Deenta and Tatparta is the ultimate Vivek of a Vaishnava. So let us all have this Vivek. Once we have Vivek, the next step which Shri Mahaprabhuji tells us is Dhairya, which is patience. If we have Vivek within us, if we have started understanding between what is good for us, what is bad for us, what is right, what is wrong, what is Nitya, what is Anitya, after having all those thoughts, after understanding your ahankar within yourself, after understanding the process of your body, how it acts, how it reacts, and when you start making your choices with Vivek, the next step comes Dhairya, patience. You might take actions with utmost understanding, with utmost awareness, with utmost Vivek, and there might be a place where the repercussion that you have thought, or the reaction that you have thought of that action, might not be as you expected. You might have acted with very kindness, you might have never harmed someone, you might have never said something wrong to someone, but that person comes to you and says something or does something which makes you feel bad. You acted with Vivek, but the reaction was with avivek. So to accept that, or to protect yourself from that, you need to have dhairya, patience. So with this understanding of Vivek, let us all become a Viveki Vaishnav and try not to become an aviveki Vaishnav. Become kind, become ready always for service, of dedication of your indriyas or your senses or your organs, and through that you can attain Vivek and reach till the shikhar of ashray, which is surrender to Shri Krishna. Vivek dhairya satatam rakshaniye tathashrayah. These two things can be done by the Jeev, Vivek and Dhairya. Once the Jeev, or us, when we practice Vivek and we practice Dhairya, Rakshaniye Tathashrayah, it protects our surrender to Shri Krishna, or Bhagavan Shri Krishna accepts our surrender to his lotus feet. So let us all have that Vivek, that we are the sevak of Shri Mahaprabhuji, we are the sevak of Shri Krishna, and as that, what should be our actions? How kind should we act? How kind should we speak? With what kindness should we have thoughts in our life? So may we all have Vivek in our lives. Let us ask Shri Mahaprabhuji to grant us Vivek so that we succeed in this path of Pushti Marg. Shubham Bhavatu, Kalyanamastu.